Joe Paterno is no longer the head football coach, effective immediately.
For the glory of old state, for her founder strong and great, for the future that we wait. Raise the song, raise the song, sing our love, loyalty, sing our hopes that bright and free. Rest, O Mother, dear, with thee, oh, with thee.
That is the Joe Paterno statue being removed from outside Beaver Stadium, taken away on a forklift under blankets and shrink wrap. It took a long time to jackhammer that 900-pound statue out of there. The statue was taken inside Beaver Stadium. No determination as to where that statue's final resting place will be.
Dear old state, dear state, may no act of ours bring shame to one heart that loves thy name. May our lives but swell thy fame. Dear old state, dear old state.
The Penn State community and the world were shaken when on November 5th, 2011, Jerry Sandusky, assistant Penn State football coach, was arrested for allegations of child molestation. The grief intensified as the public learned that celebrated football coach Joe Paterno, the hero of Penn State, had knowledge of the scandal and was involved in its cover-up. Because of his alleged role in the cover-up, Joe Paterno's statue outside of Beaver Stadium was removed. Joe Paterno was the hero of Penn State. Serving 44 years as head coach of the football team, he had the most wins of any college coach and held the NCAA record for most bowl appearances. He was a staple of Penn State culture and someone the public loved to admire. Joe Paterno was the face of Penn State. Although he admittedly disliked his statue, it personified all he represented to the Penn State community. After the statue's official removal and storage in a secure, unknown location, Penn State justified its compliance by citing that the statue had become a source of division and an obstacle to healing. But was the removal of the statue an appropriate reaction of the university?
The famous statue of Joe Paterno, previously located outside of Beaver Stadium, was removed early Sunday morning by Penn State University. Members of the community express how they feel about this topic.
I think it was something right that they did, because the guy was a disgrace. Even though he was a great coach, but it was a disgrace for the cover-up and everything, the big scandal that took place in that college.
I think that for right now, it's kind of a good move, just because Penn State's reputation's so tarnished right now because of this whole thing, and I just think it'll save them a lot of problems.
I feel it's a detriment to the school. The guy gave his entire life to the university. He did what he should have done. Maybe he should have done a little more to help, with the whole situation. But it shouldn't ruin his legacy by taking the statue down that's been there for 20 years.
Paterno's specific involvement or lack of involvement in the scandal is still unclear. Nobody truly knows what he did or did not conceal, but the public outrage and consequent assumptions resulted in pressure on the university to remove Paterno's iconic statue.
Certainly, Joe Paterno's hands are dirty. This is a dirty business, and he is definitely guilty of whatever knowledge he had and brushed under the rug.
Paterno notified Athletic Director Tim Curley and Gary Schultz, Vice President of Finance and Business, who also oversaw the university police, about the incident reported to him. Prosecutors did not accuse Paterno of any wrongdoing, but he was criticized for not following up on the incident further.
At the very least, Mr. Paterno could have alerted the entire football staff in order to prevent Sandusky from bringing another child into the Lash building. Mr. Spanier, Schultz, Paterno, and Curley also failed to alert the Board of Trustees about the 1998 investigation or take any other action against Mr. Sandusky. None of them ever spoke to Sandusky about his conduct.
The Paterno family report cited that the observations as to Joe Paterno in the Free Report are unfounded and have done a disservice not only to Joe Paterno and the university community, but also to the victims of Jerry Sandusky and the critical mission of educating the public on the dangers of child sexual victimization.
I have a tremendous respect for Louis Freeh. He was my former boss, the director of the FBI. He's got a great reputation for investigating crimes. But unfortunately, in this case, he failed to look at it as a child sex crime. He did not put it in the context of child sexual victimization. Those crimes have a very different dynamic than every other garden variety crime. And unfortunately, because he didn't look at it in the context of child sexual victimization, that investigation went way down the wrong road. And we're left with something that terribly mischaracterizes what happened. What I can say is that based on the record today, there is absolutely no evidence that Joe Paterno was involved in a conspiracy to conceal anything about Sandusky.
In the event that Paterno was guilty, should his legacy be defined by his one mistake?
Morning to all of you. We begin with breaking news. Penn State football coach Joe Paterno says he will retire at the end of the season.
Do we remember him as the winningest coach in college football with the most bowl appearances?
That's why I stayed here so long. And you know what? Look around. Look around.
Or do we remember him for this?
Man and a powerful man. If he doesn't have the decency and the courage to call 911 with a credible sex abuse allegation, how can we expect lower level employees to do that, take that simple step? That is our moral duty, even if it's not our duty under the law. Every adult who sees or suspects a child sex crime has to call 911, and there's no excuse for reporting it to anybody else or for minimizing it or concealing it or ignoring it, which is essentially what Paterno and other Penn State officials have clearly done in this case.
Do we remember him as the philanthropist, donating millions to academics, community, and the betterment of the university? Or do we remember him for this? Unfortunately, these are questions without a conclusive right or wrong answer. We will all remember Joe Paterno and the legacy he left at Penn State in a different way. His statue personified this great legacy, and its removal seemed to condemn him to infamy. He was not only a coach, but also an educator and philanthropist. But does this one potential failure overshadow all of his success?